Gunpowder itself, just in and of itself, hasn't had that much impact, but it's the use that's made of it and the developments in it. And of course, for a long time, gunpowder was kind of stable. We don't really know when gunpowder was invented. Somewhere maybe 4th, 5th century AD, probably in China. We're not sure.
It is believed that alchemists on the search for the elixir of everlasting life combine ingredients that have a paradoxical nature to them, such as mercury, the liquid metal, and sulfur, the burning stone. When they combined charcoal, sulfur, and saltpeter, or potassium nitrate, they create a volatile chemical agent that, when exposed to fire, explodes. The first true use of gunpowder was in explosives to move land and in fireworks to scare away evil spirits. It was then transformed for war, becoming rockets, landmines, grenades, and even flamethrowers.
For a long time, crossbows and longbows were more effective infantry weapons than anything powered by gunpowder. For one thing, it wasn't that powerful, it wasn't that reliable, and it was too cumbersome.
The first illustration of a matchlock firearm was found in 1475 in Europe. Matchlock weapons were the first weapons to use mechanisms that allowed firing by hand. Shortly after, in 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, and immediately after that, the Spanish, Portuguese, French, and British colonized in the New World, all with the help of gunpowder. In 1610, the first flintlock was made for the King of England by a Frenchman. Flintlock firearms used flint, which would strike against a piece of steel called the frizzen to light the gunpowder, resulting in the gun discharging.
Rifling was a huge advancement in firearms. Rifling is helical grooves in the barrel of the gun, which makes the bullet spin. This results in better accuracy. The first rifling in a firearm was invented in 1520 in Germany, but didn't start to be used until the mid-16th century.
During the American Revolution, there were several types of guns used, such as the musket, the rifle, the handgun, and the cannon. In 1836, Samuel Colt invented a firearm called the Colt revolver. This was the first true multi-shot pistol in history, which made firing and reloading faster because there were 6 firing chambers instead of having to muzzle load after each shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of announcing to you that we are going to make an effort to repeat the old reveille. 1, 2, 3.
There were many different types of weapons that were used in the American Civil War. The most popular shoulder-fired arm was the Springfield Model 1861. Soldiers in the Civil War also had to make do with what they had. During this time, there was a major shortage of military weapons, so the soldiers used their hunting weapons for sharpshooting. The most important advancement in gunpowder was the invention of smokeless powder. In 1886, Paul Viel invented a smokeless gunpowder called Powder B. Smokeless powders were so important because it changed how firearms were used. When fired, there is practically no smoke and is also much more powerful than regular gunpowder. This made firearms much more accurate. A rifle could now shoot accurately up to 1,000 yards.
The Gatling gun is a multi-barreled repeating firearm, which can fire up to 600 rounds per minute. This heavy machine gun was not as popular as the shoulder-fire weapons used in the Civil War, and as such, wasn't used very often. The Gatling gun is a precursor to modern machine guns.
There were many different types of weapons that were used in World War I. World War I was the first war to combine vehicles and firearms. Major powers used armored tanks equipped with machine guns. Infantry mainly used bolt-action rifles, which were capable of firing at least 10 rounds per minute. The Maxim machine gun was also used by the large powers. This was the first self-powered machine gun.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
World War II was the deadliest conflict in recorded history. As the technology in the world advanced, so did the weapons. Weapons adapted to the environment of war. They became faster and stronger. The most popular weapons that the United States used was the M1 Garand and the Browning automatic rifle. World War II also brought the deadliest weapon since the invention of gunpowder, the atomic bomb.
Weapons have changed dramatically since World War II. Non-nuclear warfare has become 400 to 700% more deadly as we have become more accurate. We can now locate a target in the dark, in smoke, rain, and snow at about 2,000 yards.
The M16A4 is a standard issue assault rifle used in the United States military. It has the capability to shoot semi-automatic, 3-round burst, or fully automatic. We have talked about guns, gunpowder, and warfare all the way from the 9th century to now. But what about the future? Caseless ammunition is an ammunition that eliminates the brass casings that usually hold the primer, projectile, and propellant. The reason to eliminate the casing is to reduce the weight and cost of the cartridge. Because there is no brass casing, there is also no need for an ejection system within the firearm, which makes the firearm lighter. This concept is not new. The Germans in World War II were researching caseless ammunition because there was a shortage of metals that were used to make the casing. This concept was never perfected until 1968 when Daisy, the airgun maker, produced a .22 caliber rifle that used a caseless round that had no primer. Although there are many new technologies, the future of civilian weapons cannot be predicted.
To update you on the situation, if you're just now joining us, at least 14 dead, 50 injured. A lot of those injuries are severe after a lone gunman opens fire in a theater outside of Denver, Colorado in a
Just joining us, 2 young men apparently dressed in long black trench coats opened fire about an hour and a half ago at a high school just outside of Denver in Littleton, Colorado.
Tonight at 5, new details emerging about the shooting at Hoop Fest in Riverfront Park over the weekend.
On your Friday morning, we're going to interrupt programming. We've been telling you this morning there has been a shooting at a school in Newtown. This is the Sandy Hook Elementary School.
The events that many of us have heard about on the news have spurred some parts of the government into creating tighter gun control laws that will make it harder for civilians to gain access to weapons. Unfortunately, for several companies around Spokane, that means gun and ammunition sales will plummet in the near future.
The invention of gunpowder has changed the world. It has changed the way we live our everyday lives. It has given the United States its freedom and protection that we so cherish. The invention of gunpowder also has had its disadvantages. It has taken as many lives as it has saved.